Okay, senior cadet of flight A, give me the status, quick. Make it fast. Flight B, senior. 23. Where are the remaining? Only 50% are there. Flight C. Thirty of flight A is 30 of 46. Flight C. Flight C senior. Give the status report quick. Who is flight C senior? Yes, cadet or no? Give me the report quick. Flight C. Present out of 23. Okay. Okay. So cadets, we will start our discussion. So I will continue where we had left in the last session. Can anybody remind me what we were discussing last session? We are talking on airmanship. Anyone? Any cadet? Remind me on what we are discussing.
Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind. Who is this?
This is Cadet Vandana, sir.
Tell me, Vandana.
We were discussing about the VFR flight rules.
VFR flight rules, very good.
And the applicability, the flight level and the speeds in which the planes operate.
Very good, very good. Now, what is VFR?
VFR is visual meteorological conditions.
That is.
That is VMC. Sorry, sir. It's a visual flight rules. VFR.
Okay. So VFR means visual flight rules. So visual flight rules are applicable when during daytime and when the weather conditions are very clear. It means the pilot has to have a continuous watch outside at the horizon. Okay. So just a minute, I'm opening the notes. Okay. So before discussing this, I want to highlight few points regarding your examinations. You all know how the marks has been distributed for your B certificate exam. Yes, no, keep it interactive. Okay, check. So I'll be presenting my screen. So can you see the screen? Okay. So your B and C certificate exam is based on the rules and regulations framed by DGNCC, and SNCO is the regulation book which we follow. Okay, so here all the regulations are given to appear for B certificate and the procedure to evaluate B certificate examination. Okay, so I'll not go in much detail, so I'll just highlight few points. So cadet should have a minimum of 75% of attendance, and the break in the NCC tenure should not be more than 18 months. And if in case break exceeds, then there is extra class need to be conducted. and must have attended at least one annual training camp or any other camp. And cadets possess A certificate will awarded 10 bonus marks. So this is the add-on. If anybody has A certificate exam, A certificate with you, then you are awarded with 10 marks extra, grace marks. Okay. So then there are marks distribution. I'll take you to. So bonus marks you will get in each of these certificates. Bonus marks for C certificate exam, this is applicable, not for B. If you attend these camps, for example, RDC, YEP, shooting camp, mountaineering, so 5% extra will be graded on the total marks. I think it is. Okay. This. Just hold on, I'll copy that because I cannot read it. It is like that. Okay, can you see this? Marks distribution. So basically there will be 4 papers. Okay. So part 1 drill, part 2 weapon training, part 3 is miscellaneous. That's all your common subject. Part 4 is the special subject. So total grading marks will be of 500 marks. Now there is something called written and practical. So practical is one which is conducted one day before the theory exam of your drill, weapon training, and on the special subject. So there are 3 practicals. One is on drill. So your drill is checked. So that is of 60 marks. And one more practical is of weapon training, 25 marks. It means the .22 rifle, you have to dismantle and assemble it, and you have to name the parts of the .22 and SLR rifle. And special subject, practical. Practical means again, Viva and special subject will be conducted. So whatever you are studying now, it's all applicable there for the practicals. So that is about practical. So 60, then 25 and 40 marks. Now coming to theory, so there is a one paper which includes part 1, part 2 and part 3. This entire thing, part 1, part 2, part 3 comes under common subject. So 30 marks will be for okay, the marks have been revised. These are not the marks. So the marks are 10, 80. So this becomes a total of 90. This is 35, 25, 60. This is 220, 105. So totally this will become 200, 105, 45, 150. These are revised marks, sorry. So drill theory paper will be of 10 marks. So it means it will contains maybe 5 questions of fill in the blanks and 5 questions of objective or anything like that. So if you are not able to answer this first part, it means you are failed in B certificate examination. It means all the part 1, part 2, part 3 and part 4, in each of these paper you have to score at least minimum of 45% of marks. It means in part 1 drill questions, there might be 5 fill in the blanks and 5 1-mark questions. In that you have to get minimum of 5 marks. If you get less than 5, it means you are failed. Clear? Then coming to theory of weapon training, again weapon training is of 35 marks. Again it is weapon training includes theory questions on parts of .22 rifle, what is the name of Indian name of what is the when did INSAS aim and the details of INSAS, what are the good firing, these that, all these questions will come. So that is of 35 marks. Okay, so this includes LMG also, INSAS as well as SLR, all these things. And then comes 200 marks, that is of completely written general paper, that is national integration, personality development, environmental, social issues, all these things cover 200 marks. So this 200 marks, you have to get 50% of it, that is 100 marks. And weapon training out of 35, you should get 18 marks, and here you should get 5 marks to clear this. And likewise, 105 marks is this special subject. So in this 105 marks, you have to get at least 60 marks to pass it, means 50% off. 45% in each paper, and overall in all the papers, you should get 50% of marks to clear the examination. So hope it is clear to you all. If you have any queries, please ask. Any queries? That's any queries? So you have to be very particular. You might be good in one of the paper, and if you are not able to answer another paper, it means you are totally failed in the B certificate examination. You will not get any certificate, you will get as failed. So you have to concentrate equally in all the papers. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Clear? Okay. So now we'll move back, we'll head back to our subject, that is airmanship. So this is what we are discussing. So in the last class, we are talking about the visual flight rules. Hope you all can see the screen. So we was talking about the visual flight rules. So visual flight rules, there are two conditions in which the aircraft can fly. One is the visual flight rules and another is the instrument flight rules. So visual flight rules are applicable for the aircraft which has the minimum number of equipments which it has carry. And there are certain atmospheric conditions in which it can follow. It can fly. So one is the atmospheric condition. One of the condition is that the visibility should be clear. That is 8 kilometers of visibility should be there. That is about 10,000 feet, and 5 kilometer visibility below 10,000 feet. And vertical separation from cloud should be 1,000 feet, and horizontal separation is 1.5 kilometers. That is when you're flying away from the aerodrome. When you comes under the aerodrome or the control zone, then the restrictions are separate. So then the separation from the clouds vertically is 500 feet and the horizontal distance is 2 kilometers. Whereas on any other this buildings or any obstruction, then the minimum altitude that has to be maintained is 1,000 feet. And applicability, when we look at then applicability, then VFR is applicable between sunrise to sunset. It means you can fly these aircraft between sunrise to sunset. You cannot fly between sunset and sunrise. It means during night time or dark time, you cannot fly under VFR conditions. And it cannot go the flight level above 200. It means you cannot go beyond 20,000 feet. And it cannot go transonic or supersonic speed. And these are the conditions which we have shown. And the minimum height that it has to fly, the VFR condition is 1,000 feet above the highest building with a radius of 2,000 feet. So these are the VFR meteorological conditions. The special VFR conditions. So special VFR conditions means it is authorized for an aircraft to fly under certain conditions. It means You can fly with a visibility of 1.5 kilometers, and this is applicable only for military aircraft. These are the special VFR flight rules. This is not applicable for any civilian aircraft. So it is only applicable for military aircraft. So 1.5 kilometer visibility is there. You are good to go. So these are the different flight rules. That is the flight heights and altitudes. Okay. So I'll come to that. If you see here, VFR flight level, when we say VFR flight level 35, it means it flies at an altitude of 3,500. It means the VFR flight levels are in terms of, that is, if you see here, these are odd numbers. You take the first number here, 357. This is applicable for the course heading, that is from 0 to 180, 0 to 172 degrees. It means then it is for odd numbers, it is 1000 odds plus 500 for VFR. And for the course heading from 180 to 359, then the flight levels or the flight altitude will be even number 1000 plus 500. Here. So if you write here, for example, so say this is a compass, which is here 0 degree, this is 90 degree, this is 180 degree, 0, this is 90, this is 180 degree, this is 270. Now, if this is with respect to true north, if this is the true north 0 degree, then if any aircraft which is flying in these directions, it means if it is flying in these directions, then, and if it is following the VFR conditions, visual flight rule conditions, then they will maintain an altitude of 1000 plus 500. Sorry, not 1000. I should write like odd 1000 plus 500 feet. Okay. And if any aircraft flying in this course, it means if it is flying in this directions, then there should be an even thousands. So it will be an even thousands plus 500. Okay. Even 1000 plus 500. It means, for example, what is the say odd number, say 3. This is odd number is 3. So it means what? If it is say 3000 plus 500, then the total altitude is 3500. It means if an aircraft is flying in this direction, that is from 0 to 179 degrees, for example, any aircraft is flying in this direction, okay, like this, then they have to maintain the flight levels of odd numbers in terms of 1000 plus 500. And if any aircraft is flying in this direction like this, then they have to maintain an even 1000 plus 500 for VFR. Whereas for IFR, what happens? This 500 is not there. Only odd thousands for 0 to 179 degrees and even thousands for 180 to 359 degrees. Hope it is clear to you all. Is it clear? Okay. So now, cadets, tell me, if an aircraft is flying at an altitude of, if aircraft is flying at an altitude of 6500, then what is its course heading? In which range it will fall? In which direction it is running? . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . 180 to 360. See, this is the mistake which you will do. It is not 180 to 360, it is 180 to 359, because when you say 360, 360 means it becomes 0. So 0 means it is the other direction. Okay. Cadet Manish, is it clear, Manish? Nitish, it is not south to north. It is not the way of telling that. You have to tell in which direction in terms of degrees. Okay. So now tell me, if an aircraft is flying in a course direction of 90 degrees, what should be the altitude of an aircraft? If an aircraft is flying at 90 degrees with respect to true north, then what should be the altitude in VFR conditions? Okay, in IFR, I see only flight A cadets are participating. Flight B cadets are not responding at all. Flight B and flight C are sleeping. Odd thousands. Very good. So now it is very clear. Now, whenever I ask you, you should be very clear. Now, with this, the flight levels are designed. Now, for all these VFR, the flight levels are start like this. Continuing with the same, from 0 to 179 degrees, then the flight level is 35. It means it is 3,500. Then next odd number is 55. Next odd number is 75. Next odd number is 95. What is the next odd number? What is the next odd number after 95? 105. But here 105 is not considered, maybe due to certain reasons. It is not considered. So it is straight away the next flight level starts at 115 and 135, 155, 175, 195, and again 205 is not there. Then again 215 it starts. Okay. So that might be some international standard which is followed. And then here it starts with 10, 30, 40, 50, 40 is not there, 50, sorry, yeah, correct, 50, 70, 90. Then it is 110, 130, 150. So it is all fine. Yeah. Okay. So the next odd number, as you have told, it is 105. So if you see here, 105 comes under this 180 to 369 degrees. So 105 is not there. That is why 105 is not there. Next, because it is 0. You should read like 1, you keep it separate, 0, 5. So 0 becomes an even. So it is 0, 5 means it is considered as an even flight level. So it is kept as 105 in the even thousands. And then 125 and so on. Okay. So now for cruising levels are very important. When flying at 3,000 feet above AGL, the pilot must follow the VFR cruising altitude even below. So when you're flying above 3,000 feet, now these, whatever the flight levels are there, that is applicable only above 3,000 feet and above AGL. Okay. That is what we have studied just now. Now applicability of IFR. Now let's talk about the IFR. So when does this IFR comes into effect? When the equipments, when the aircraft is fitted with all the latest navigational equipments, it has a long range radio communication equipment, it has a navigational system, it has a GPS system. When all these things are fitted, then the aircraft can fly under IFR conditions. Okay, and when the VFR meteorological conditions does not meet the criteria, then we can go for IFR. And in IFR, you can means the aircraft can fly in the night time also. Okay, and when operated more than 100 nautical miles in the seawards, that is also possible in the IFR conditions. That is what it says. So it has to have a good navigational equipment and a good radio, long range communication equipment. So what is the minimum height for an aircraft which is flying under IFR? So the minimum height in the terrain areas, it should have a 2000 feet above the highest obstacle in the terrain areas with a radius of 8 kilometers and 1000 feet in the vicinity of you know, highest obstacle when you are flying elsewhere. Elsewhere in the sense, if it is not terrain area, if it is a city area or populated area, then it should be. Sorry, means when you are flying at a vegetation area, then it should be 1000 feet. Now let us talk about right of way. What is this right of way? This right of way is also applicable on the ground, air, everywhere. Can anybody tell me what is right of way? That's you all drive bicycle. If there is some bicycle or car, you will ride it on the road. And if there is a narrow passage, and from both the ends, if the vehicles are coming, how do you cross each other? Tell me. Somebody can unmute the mic and speak to me. Anyone? That's. I have given you one situation. There is a narrow path. There is a narrow way. You are traveling in a car, and from opposite there is one more car is approaching at the same point. So how will you pass it over? Both the vehicles. What will you do?
You would pull up to the side of the road, sir.
Who?
Carrot
No,
Yasin.
no. Yeah, Yasin. Now who will pull out?
Both of them would pull out in such a way that both of them can pass at the same time.
If both of them pull out, then nobody will cross it. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You drive four-wheeler?
No, sir.
You drive bike?
No, sir.
You don't drive. Okay. Anybody who drives bike or car who has an idea of driving. So what happens in such case? The driver who gives the demand to the other driver has the highest priority to cross over the bridge or that narrow section. Am I correct? So on the road, generally the RTO traffic rules, what happens? Will give the high beam to the other. Now, whoever gives the first high beam, he has got the priority to cross over. So that is a kind of understanding, because that is the rules which are framed. That is for the four-wheelers, two-wheelers, and like which are traveling here. So likewise, the rules has been framed by ICAO. What is ICAO? You can see here. The right-of-way rules are described by ICAO. What is ICAO stands for? ICAO stands for International Civil Aviation Organization, which has defined the rules for an aircraft internationally. Means throughout the world, the same rules has to be followed by all the aircrafts which are flying. Now, when we talk about the aircraft, if two aircrafts are flying perpendicular to each other or approaching to each other, then how they can avoid the consequences of getting collided or avoiding the consequences of accidents. So that is very clearly defined by ICAO in the Annexure 2, that is the rules of air. And there is something called right of way in the air and approaching head on, then when it is converging and overtaking. So now we will see each of these cases and overtaking and landing and takeoff and taxiing. These are the separate rules which are applicable for landing, taking off and taxiing. Now, before going to this, let us discuss on this. Now, who has got the highest priority or the right of way? We are talking about the 6 categories of air traffic. One is the balloons. Balloons are nothing but the hot air balloons. The second category is the glider. And the third category is a tug glider. And next category is the airship, helicopters, and powered conventional aircrafts. Okay. This is the sequence. It means when the balloon and glider approach each other, then glider has to give way for the balloon. Because if you see the balloon can go only up and down. It cannot go horizontally. The horizontal movement of the balloon, it depends only on the airflow. In which direction the air flows. For example, if this is the hot balloon, if the air is flowing in this direction, then the balloon will move in the same direction where it goes. It means it doesn't have any control over it. So it means then if the glider comes, then the glider has to give way for this balloon. Okay? Because glider has certain maneuvering capabilities, whereas the balloon doesn't have the maneuvering capabilities. So this is a glider. So this is a glider. Basically, it has the wings, but it doesn't have the engine. It means it just glides in air. It will be in air based on the direction of the air. So it means it can go up and down, it can pitch up and pitch down, and it can roll with the help of ailerons. So these are the basic movements which it can do. Now, if it is compared with the tug glider, so this is tug glider. There is a difference between just glider and tug glider. So this tug glider is connected to a conventional powered aircraft through the cable, so that it gets the power. It means the pulling effect or the thrust which it can get. It means now it has the thrust, it can move forward, and it has the ailerons to roll side by side, and it can pitch up and down with the help of elevators. So now which has got the right of way between these two? Then if you compare, then the glider has the right of way when compared to the tug gliders or any other higher version of aircrafts. And if you compare this tug glider with this airship you might have seen, this is of helium balloon. Now it is it has a propeller which propels it and it moves in the direction, it can go in all the directions. Now it has more control when compared to this tug glider. Then this tug glider has right of way over this airship. It means when it is approaching, then first the tug glider will pass without any obstruction, where this airship has to give the path to tug glider. And when it comes to a helicopter, then when we compare this airship with helicopter, then a helicopter has to give way for this balloon. And if we talk about the conventional powered aircraft, then these are the conventional powered aircraft, that it might be a commercial aircraft, engine commercial aircraft, or jet commercial aircraft. This has a complete maneuverable capabilities. So this should give path to other aircrafts or any such conditions. This is in air. Now, how does this aircrafts will move in air? Now, if two aircrafts are moving like this, now you see one big aircraft is there and small aircraft. Now the small aircraft is approaching perpendicular. Then what happened when it is approaching perpendicular? It has seen the port side of uh, this big aircraft. Then this big aircraft has the right of way when compared to this small aircraft. Small means this is also a powered aircraft. It also has the engine. So this aircraft has turned left and given path to this bigger aircraft. Okay. So we will see in detail. I'll show you with this first and then we will come to that. Now imagine this condition. Now this blue line aircraft is moving straight, whereas this red line aircraft, both are conventional. Now in this case, both have the equal priority. Now what will happen when both have equal priority? Then the aircraft which is coming perpendicular to this blue aircraft. So if you're standing here in front of this aircraft, then the right side of the aircraft, becomes the red aircraft. That will give path to the other aircraft. Okay. Okay. So that is the thing. And if two aircrafts are approaching each other, now for example, it is both aircrafts are heading to each other. In that case, both the aircrafts will take right. Yeah. So that is the one of the rule. So that is in air. Now when the two aircrafts are approached for landing, then the aircraft below has a right of way when compared to the aircraft above this aircraft. So this is the basic concept of right of way. We'll go in much detail. And there is one more condition. When any aircraft wants to overtake another aircraft, then what happens? It has to take a deviation of 70 degrees to its right and then it will overtake the other aircraft. So these are the conditions when it is in air. Okay. Now we will see the conditions during landing. Now the right of way, the rules slightly changes during landing approach. Now what happens? The aircraft which is coming for approach has a highest priority or the right of way when compared to aircraft on ground. It means the aircraft on ground has to clear the runway as early as possible. If it is damaged, then the aircraft on ground has the right of way when compared to the aircraft which is approaching. Okay. And approach aircraft, the aircrafts at the lower altitude on the approach has the right of way normally. However, on the courtesy, the aircraft at the lower altitude on the approach has the right of way. That's what I said to you. And that's what I told you here. In this case, when two aircrafts are approaching, the aircraft which has a lower altitude has the right of way. But sometimes if the captain says, okay, no, the another aircraft which is approaching at higher altitude, let us give way, right of way, then it's okay. It's on the courtesy side. It is possible. It depends on the captain decision. And if any aircraft needs an emergency service, then that aircraft has the highest priority or the right of way over all other aircrafts. This is all about during landing. Now, when we talk about on ground, now when the aircraft on ground, then who has the highest priority? Now, the vehicle not towing the aircraft give way to the aircraft being taxied. Taxi means when the aircraft is landed and it is moving towards its terminal, then it has to come through taxiway. So during that time, then that aircraft which is in the taxi has the highest priority when the vehicle is not being towed. But when it is towing, then that aircraft has the highest priority or has the right of way when compared to the aircraft being taxi. Means the aircraft and vehicle taxiing give way to the aircraft being towed. Now these are the light markings which helps in the navigation systems. This is a top view of the aircraft. So the right side of this wing of this aircraft, we call it as the starboard, and the left side of the wing, we call it as the port side. and that is indicated with the lights. So the green light on this indicates the starboard and the red light indicates the port side. And to indicate the tail section of that aircraft is indicated by white. Clear? Now this helps the pilot in judging the direction of aircraft. Means we will see that how the pilot can see and judge whether the aircraft is coming near or going far, or in which direction the aircraft is moving. Now for fighter aircraft, it is also the same concept. That is, a starboard is green, port side is red, but tail section rather than white, it is yellow. For gliders, it is just one yellow light, and for balloons, it is red light, and for airship, it is two yellow lights at the front and tail section and green at the top. Now see this condition and understand. Now there is an aircraft which is coming in this direction. Now, if you see this scenario, the first aircraft, which is below here, it is moving horizontally, and the another aircraft which is which is pointing down, it has seen the port side light, means the red light. Whenever a pilot sees the another aircraft red light, it means the pilot who has seen the red light will give way for the other aircraft. Now, what happens? This aircraft has given way to this aircraft. It means this aircraft has turned and given the way, and the aircraft which is below, which is moving without any disturbance. Let's watch this condition again. Now, the below aircraft, which is this, is moving straight, and now the second aircraft has seen the red light. It means the port side, it is understood that the second aircraft has the give way to this first aircraft, so it moves away rather than going straight. Now let us look into the another condition here. Okay, if you look into the another condition here, this aircraft has seen the starboard side of this aircraft. When it sees the starboard side of the aircraft, then this aircraft, the aircraft 1 has the right of way when compared to aircraft 2. So the aircraft 2 has again seen the red light, because when it sees the aircraft at first, it sees the red light, so it will give way for this first aircraft, and first aircraft will move without any disturbance. Yeah. So like this, the collisions can be avoided. And there is something called code which is followed by the pilots during such scenario. That is high, low, high, level, and low. So if you see, this is an aircraft which is pointing at the 12 o'clock, and there is another aircraft which is moving, which is at the 11 o'clock, but this is moving from left to right. Now what is the risk of this? The risk is low, because it is and another aircraft is down at somewhere around 4 o'clock, and there is another aircraft which is, both this aircraft which is at 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock are slightly at risk, whereas the aircraft which is at 2 o'clock, it is going straight, which is moving right side, has no effect for this center aircraft, because it is not coming in the way of that. Whereas the another aircraft at 9 o'clock also has no issues with this aircraft, because again it is flying on the left side and it is not coming on that. Now you see this aircraft, if it is coming like this, which is at 10 o'clock, then it is at high. High in the sense, the code high is used to indicate that, okay, it is straight coming across, it is coming straight to the another aircraft which is pointing at 12 o'clock. Now this is the another aircraft which is moving straight from left to right at 12 o'clock, and it has no issues. The the level is, the code used is level. And another aircraft which is at 4 o'clock, it is low. See, high, level, and low indicates that in which direction it is coming. High means if it is coming anywhere between 9 to 12 o'clock, it is high. If it is approaching, level means it is going level flight, and low means it is coming from the low side. Now it is climbing from right to left. Now the compliance with rules, if we talk, then In VFR conditions, the aircraft has to be seen. That is what it says. These are the different rules. Okay. That's it. And this right of way. So right of way is very important. Now let's have a question answer session. Now tell me, airship has the right of way when compared to glider? Quick, quick, quick.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. The conventional powered aircraft has the right of way when compared to helicopter?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, good. That means you understood. What do you mean by conventional aircraft? Conventional powered aircraft. Speak to me. Unmute your mic now in the last moment. Okay, aircraft with engine. Fine, good. Right answer. Which has engine. Right. Now, what is starboard side?
Right side.
Right side. Port side?
It's left.
Left side to the pilot.
Left side to the pilot is a port side. Now, what is the lighting of port side? Light indication.
Red color.
Red, sir.
Starboard?
Green.
Green, sir.
Green. Okay. Now, this is my starboard. Right? Do you agree?
No, sir.
Okay, I think there is a mirror reflection on this. So this is my starboard because I think it is coming in the reverse way on the other side.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if an aircraft sees another aircraft which is approaching with red light, who should give the way?
The aircraft approaching should give the way, sir.
Which aircraft?
The aircraft which sees the red light should give way.
Okay. The concept is clear. Any doubt?
No, sir.
It's clear, sir.
No, in the sense not understood or what?
No doubt, sir.
No doubts. Okay. Okay. Good. Because right of way will comes in viva of your examinations as well as in the theory. So you have to be crystal clear on this topic. Okay. Now, if this is the scenario, let me show you like this. Now, if this is the aircraft 1, this is the aircraft 2, who has to give the right of way? I think again this is a mirror image. This is the starboard. Thumb is the starboard.
The
Aircraft 1 should give the way, sir.
Aircraft one should be the way.
This one?
yes,
Or this
sir.
one? This one.
Yes, sir. Lower aircraft.
Okay. Fine. Good. So it means you understood the concept. Any other queries? Any other doubts?
Sir, can you just explain that odd thousand?
Okay.
I'm a bit confused.
Okay, good. I'll explain that. Who is this? Identify.
Cadet Akhilesh Herkul, sir.
English. Okay. So assume there is an atmosphere. Okay. This is a north condition, 0 degree. Okay. Now you have to see clockwise direction, like this. Now it depends aircraft. Now, for example, if the aircraft is moving in this direction, okay, the aircraft is moving in this direction. So now it is, what is a compass that is showing heading? (10 degrees).
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when it is in 10 degrees, If it is flying in the VFR conditions, means visual flight rule conditions, then it can have the altitude maintained either 3,500, or it can maintain an altitude of 5,500, or it can maintain an altitude of 7,500, like this, odd numbers, odd thousands. Thousand means this positions. Okay, plus 500.
Okay, sir.
3,000, 5,000, 7,000, 9,000. Then 105 is not there because 100 is even number, correct? So 100 is
Yes.
even. So 115 is odd. So next is 115, like this. But a pilot cannot take this decision on his own. First, he has to give this plan to the ATC and take approval. Okay, I will be flying throughout my journey at this altitude, that is 5,500. It means what is the flight level? So the flight level, it has become
55.
55. So he will tell that I will be flying at a flight level of 55. Clear? This is applicable for VFR. When it is flying in IFR conditions, then the 500 will not be there. Only it is 3,000, 5,000, 7,000, like this. Okay. Then in this case, now the flight level becomes 30, 50, 70.
70.
Clear? This is in the IFR condition when an aircraft is flying with an instrument with IFR. This is VFR. And this is applicable from 0 to 179 degrees. If an aircraft is flying anywhere in this direction. If an aircraft is flying in this direction, somewhere here, that is from 180 to 359
59.
degrees, then it will follow VFR conditions as even numbers. That is 2000, sorry, 2000, sorry, 2,500. Okay, then 4,500, then 6,500, and so on. It means these are even numbers of thousands plus 500 for VFR. Okay, and for IFR it is minus 5,000. It means only 2,000. Now what is the flight rules here? Flight levels. Flight level is 25, 45, 65. Whereas for IFR it is flight level 20, flight level 40, flight level 60. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other doubt?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other cadet has any doubts? Okay. If there are no doubts, then we'll wind up our session. So thank you. Stay safe.